Hey everybody, Mr. Calbeck here. I hope that distance learning is going well for you so far. I hope that you're able to learn and pay attention. Again, just as a quick reminder, it'd be a great idea to put your phone away. Go hide it in the bathroom, seriously. It will help you focus. Get a piece of paper out. You and I are going to go through this together. And again, you can pause this, fast forward, do whatever you need to do. But just as a warm up today, we're going to be talking about geometry things. So I want you to look at this picture and see what you can come up with, all the geometric shapes you can find on this. Go ahead and pause that, see what you can come up with. All right, let's see what you guys found. Some of the things that I saw in here. So I saw like these rectangle shapes here. There's like a rhombus, a square, even some triangles around, a big line. So lots of geometric shapes that you can see. I also saw, more importantly, some algebra shapes. So if you've had me in algebra, or if you've watched any of my crash course videos in algebra, there's a parabola here, which is kind of awesome. I love the parabola shape. The most important shape, though, in this whole thing that you haven't seen comes from this one. It's actually a frowny face. I'm hoping that the frowny face is not your experience in geometry this year. I'm hoping that you have a great experience, that you learn a ton. But you know, what do you say about the teacher who puts a picture in here that clearly has a frowny face in it? I don't know. That's a little interesting. So, not sure why that keeps dimming. Sorry about that. So again, the goal of today is we're going to be learning just kind of the basic language of geometry. I don't want you to feel like you have to write down absolutely everything you see on this page. Instead, see if you can synthesize what you're reading on there, what I'm saying, and that's what you should write down. So you might even want to have two columns here. So one is a definition, and please write in your own words. I'm sharing this with you, or you can go and watch this video again, so you don't need to write down the exact definitions. Instead, write down the things that you feel are really helpful for you, and particularly in your own words. The other thing you're going to need is the symbolic language. So when we're in geometry, I'm not going to be writing these super long words all the time. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using symbols. So for example, in math, we have all kinds of symbols for all kinds of things. I don't write out something like, 3 times x. I don't write that. Instead, what I write is 3x or 3 times x. There's a symbol that represents everything that we're doing. So what I want you to learn is the symbol for all of these geometric things and the definition in your own words. All right. So, I think I already talked about this. Again, don't write don't write the exact stuff. I want you to be writing down your own words. Again, it's more important. What's really important in this is that you understand what things actually mean. All right, that's way more important than being able to write down a fancy definition, right? Because there's all kinds of fancy definitions in math. What you need to be able to do is understand what it actually means. Okay, so here are some first things. The 3 words here you need to learn are point, line, and plane. Now, in geometry, these mean essentially what you think they mean, which is great. A point is like the smallest idea that you can. It's an infinitely small thing, right? You can't say it has any space at all. So it's represented in math with just a point here. And we actually, each point has a letter associated with it. So you might say, usually in geometry we use point P, but you could use any letter to represent a point. So a point is represented by a single letter. Make sure you guys have that down. A line is a one-dimensional thing. So like you could think of a number line or something like that. And we always represent a line with 2 points. So we might have something like this. Lines have arrows on either end, and they usually have 2 points in the middle of them. So we might say this line is A, B, right? And line AB, if we want to do the symbol of it, the symbol of line AB, we represent like this: A, B, so 2 letters right in a row. It actually doesn't matter the order, so you could put BA. If you wanted to describe Mr. Calbeck, for example, I would probably use BA. That's clearly Mr. Calbeck right there. But if you want to do the line, you write the 2 letters, and then you put an arrow above with the 2 arrows right there. Okay, and that's how we represent that. So 2 letters on the line with the arrow above them with the 2 arrows right there. Okay, a plane, we're not talking about an airplane here, we're talking about a plane, a surface. So a plane could be a wall, it could be the floor. It's a 2-dimensional area. The screen of your computer that you're looking at, or your phone right now, is a plane. And in order to have a plane, we need to have 3 points. So again, if I want to represent a plane, I literally have to just write the word plane, maybe A, B, C. I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit better of what a plane might look like here on the next page. So if I wanted to draw a plane here, maybe we can think about it as like a cube, because a cube has multiple planes that we're looking at. I think that's helpful. Cube has all of these things. So I can put some points on here. So put some points. Again, that's part of geometry. Points. And I'll give them some names. A, B, C, D. Wow, this is really exciting. What comes after E? F. Oh yeah, that's the grade that I should get as your teacher right now. G. All right, so if I want to talk about a plane, any single face, and again, a face of a figure is like that part of it right there. Okay, so any one of these spaces would be a plane. If I want to name it symbolically, the symbol of any one of these planes is represented with 3 letters. So I could say plane, and then I could pick any one of them, name 3. So maybe the one on the top here, I could name A, B, C. The one on the side, the right side, I would name as plane, maybe D, C, E. Okay. So that's what we represent a plane in geometry. Is we represent it by 3 letters, and we literally write the word plane. Oops. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, so here's some extra definitions. So what do we got here? No, that's easy. Okay. I'm gonna have to edit this. Anyway, so here's some more definitions for you. Collinear. I want you to say that with me out loud as you're looking at the screen. Say that. Collinear. And all that means are points in the same line. So points in the same line are collinear. So if you've got a bunch of points here, so maybe I have the points D, O, P, E. So I would say that O and E are collinear because they're in the same line. D and O are collinear. So any points that are on the same line we say are collinear. And again, as you're writing this, write these in your own definitions, maybe do a diagram as well, and then write the symbolism. There's not like any special symbolism for collinear points other than there's points and a line. I could name this line any combination of 2 of these letters. This could be line D, P, for example, or D, E, could be any of these lines here. Doesn't matter which ones I pick. All of them could be the name of the line. But remember, when you're writing it, maybe I write PE. is going to be right there. Okay, so not only do we have that, we've also got coplanar points. My favorite mispronunciation of this one ever was coplanar. They're coplanar, Mr. Calbeck. They're not coplanar. They're coplanar because we say the word plane. And that's the same idea. I might have a plane here. I got a bunch of points in them. We could say any point in that plane is coplanar. Okay, so a line segment is different than a line. A line continues on both directions forever. A line segment will stop. And it's got 2 points on either end of it. Now, a regular line might have 2 points. Again, we could name it after Mr. Calbeck. You can have a line segment with the same 2 points. Again, that line just doesn't continue. Now, when I represent a regular line, I use the 2 letters in it with the arrow above. And when I have a line segment, it's represented the same way. The only difference is when I draw my line, there aren't those arrows. So this is the symbolic language for a line. This is the symbolic language for that same thing, but as a line segment. So it's important when you're representing this symbolically that you don't, these little arrows actually matter when you're doing the symbolic language. Okay, so just be careful with that. So the difference between a line and a ray is a line that has a point on one side and an arrow on the other. So for this one, maybe we could use X, Y. So this one would be a ray. Now a ray, it's really important when you're doing symbolic language. Again, it starts at a point, it has an arrow going the other direction for all infinity. But when you're doing symbolic language, you would say X, Y, and you'd have the arrow going one direction. Now the side here, be careful, the side that the point is on shouldn't have an arrow on it symbolically either. The arrow is going toward the Y on the line here, and so the arrow needs to go toward the Y symbolically as well. So be careful with that. It's a really easy thing to mess up, but it should be fairly intuitive. Okay. Now, point C lies on the line between A and B, and then CA and CB are opposite rays. If you can figure out what that means without seeing a picture, I would be incredibly impressed. It's actually a very confusing idea what an opposite ray is. So I'm going to show you a quick picture of this on the next page here. So I might have a line here like this, and I've got some points on it. We'll call it A and B, and point C lies between them somewhere. So what an opposite ray is, let me do a different color here. So an opposite ray would be like this part. So I could say, all right, if I start at point C, I've actually got a ray going this direction, right? So I could say that this is ray CA. Again, I would write it like this. An opposite ray would be starting at the same point on the same line, but going another direction. So if I'll do like green or something. If I have it going this direction, it's an opposite ray. It's going the opposite direction. But notice this is all in the same line. So opposite rays always occur on one big line here. But notice one of them is going to the right, and the other one's going to the left. So I would say that this one starts at point C still, but it's going towards B, so I would say CB. So CA and CB are opposite rays. They're going opposite directions on the same line. It's kind of a little bit confusing there. If you have questions, go ahead and bring them up in class.
Hey everybody, for some reason I was just trying to upload stuff and for the last 5 minutes got cut off. So I just wanted to bring up this last little practice screen for you. So go ahead and press pause and see if you can answer all of these questions here. Should be pretty easy, but I want you to practice your symbolic language here. So if you can do some symbolic language correctly, that would be awesome. So go ahead and press pause and give it a shot. Okay, hopefully you tried that. So when we are, excuse me. All right, I hope you tried that. So when we are naming points, remember, it's just any one of these guys here. So there's a bunch of correct points. There's a few that aren't, though. So you could have named any of these letters over here, but R and M and N are not next to points, so they are not considered points. So long as you didn't pick those ones, you're correct. R is the name of the plane. Again, you can refer to the whole plane as R if it's not a point. M is the name of the line. Same thing here. You can refer to a line by one letter if it's not next to a point, and this is the letter N for this line here. So any of the other things that are points you could have named. One segment, again, pick any 2 points and then put a line over the top of them. Remember, for this, you shouldn't have the arrows over the top of it, though. Okay, so no arrows there. The same line 2 different ways. Maybe you could say line PT and line ST, something like that. It's the same line represented by 2 different letters. So any of the letter combinations in this line would give you the same exact line. 2 rays that are not opposite, again, so long as they're not meeting at the same point and going opposite directions, they're not opposite rays. So you could say PT, TS, ST, and PT, anything like that. So long as they both don't have one point as P, they're going to be correct. The plane, pick 3 points in the plane. Again, remember R, M, and N are not points, so you can't choose those. And Q is above the plane, so you had to pick a combination of 3 letters over here. And then the very last one, true or false, V, P, and R are coplanar. Remember, we use the word plane in coplanar. It is not coplanar. So V and P are both points. R is not a point, so we don't say that it's coplanar. So if R were a point, it would be a part of the plane, but it's not, so we would say false. That's a tricky one. But this is an honors class, so you can do it. All right, and that's it for me tonight. If you do have any questions, please let me know in class or shoot a message in the comments. But hope you guys have an awesome night and good luck with geometry this year.